are you still sleeping? Wake up! Wake up!
Hey guys, let's start. Real new issue of democracy is combination of equity and freedom. How to do that?
The main thing is that Tocqueville unified two concepts, liberalism and democracy. No hierarchy. Though there is phenomenon of individualism, that makes sense, so also everyone has equal power. Freedom and equity seep into absolutely everything. Social connections are seen as a political connection. Also, free citizens are guided by their own reason, and the last one is that there is division between religion and politics. Of equality. They arrived equals in education and were all middle class. In addition, Tocqueville observes that they contributed a synthesis of religion and political liberty in America that was uncommon in Europe, particularly in France. Actually, he called the Puritan founding the seed of his entire work.
Actually, Tocqueville was quite concerned with legislators because the legislative body is that which is closest to the majority, it being the representatives chosen from the people. For, he notes, since the peoples in the democracy jealously guard their liberties, they are sure to prevent their representatives from deviating from a certain general line that their interest traces for them. Tocqueville noted that where is tyranny, there is gonna be soft despotism. So soft despotism is a term that was coined by him, describing the state into which a country overrun by a network of small complicated rules might degrade. Soft despotism gives people the illusion that they're in control, when in fact they have very little influence over their government. It can be seen throughout his work that he saw men and women equal but not the same. He said that it may readily be conceived that by thus attempting to make one sex equal to the other, both are degraded, and from so preposterous a medley of the works of nature nothing could ever result but weak men and disorderly women. I mean, women, huh? There's even an effect that's called Tocqueville effect. So it is the phenomenon in which, as social conditions and opportunities improve, social frustration grows more quickly. The effect is based on Tocqueville's observations on things that he wrote in his book. First, in seeking democracy's advantages, Tocqueville knows that the laws in democracy generally tend to the good of the greatest number, for they emanate from the majority of all citizens, which can be mistaken but cannot have an interest contrary to itself. This he cleverly juxtaposes against how laws are in aristocracy. Here we get to the real and most important advantage of democracy. Democracy serves not to favor the prosperity of all, but only to serve the well-being of the greatest number. The integrity of democracy is preserved, since he argues those in power will never really deviate from will of the majority, despite their own personal vices and errors. Next, he notes another advantage of democracy, namely the ability of democracy to inspire public spirit. This public spirit, he knows, is one born of enlightenment. It develops with the aid of laws, it grows with the exercise of rights, and in the end, it intermingles in a way with personal interest. Finally, Tocqueville offers a summary of the greatest benefits or advantages of democracy. He knows that democracy does each thing in it less well, but in the long run produces more things. Democracy doesn't give the most skillful government to the people, but it does what the most skillful government is often powerless to create. It spreads a restive activity through the whole social body. Of its advantages, the most damaging stems from the democracy itself and has already been alluded to. Springing from the principle or idea of the sovereignty of the people, a potential pitfall, namely the tyranny of the majority, becomes a real issue in democratic polity, whose most powerful entity, namely the legislature, obeys the majority most willingly. But Tocqueville rejects the idea that the majority is sovereign on every matter without check. The will of the majority must be tempered by justice if a real threat to freedom is to be avoided. It is not the freedom those in America enjoy as a result of democracy, it's that there is not a guarantee against tyranny. As such, the danger of democracy lies not in what it offers, but it can allow to pass unchecked authority. Of course, other issues are first, preoccupation with material goods and isolated individuals.
Thank you, girls. You helped me so much. I really like this book, and now I understand that I know everything about democracy in America.